share mine on the Dropbox. I'm going to share a pre-baseline too, so if you guys want to use it or use it for an example or use your own. As in the syllabus, I do want your groups to submit a proposal. Next week we're going to talk about the individual deliverables. And you know what? Now since we're doing the case study thing, we'll talk a bit more about the project next week. But what I'm looking for in the project is just to be able to operate something like this, and for the individual project too. Basically, you're going to make a program for that individual project. Okay. For the critical path. Just let's go to task, and we're going to select this down arrow by the Gantt chart, and I want you to click network diagram. Whoa. I'm going to stop viewing my details here so I can see it all. Does everyone see that? I just haven't looked at the screen yet.
And that X means it's done, right?
Task, yes, the X means it's done.
It's under task?
Yeah, task.
Oh, you picked it up.
It's cool.
I still have the chart at the top.
That arrow right? Yeah.
Task.
You good?
Yeah, I just got one chart.
Go to view. If you want. Go over to the right detail. Unplug it.
Yeah.
Oh, unclick.
Yep. And now
It's because you have this
resource?
Click the view.
No. Go to the arrow under the Gantt chart.
Let's unput details.
And now go to.
And then you'll have to go back and select that diagram. You'll have to click on task.
I got it.
First.
So what task? It's under task.
So,
Alright, does everyone see that?
what will be the critical path?
The critical path is in the red.
And then resource.
Oh, you can't do it.
The network diagram.
What?
It don't look like it's going to allow you to do it.
Tom's.
Not the entire project. It's blacked out. Oh, because it's already in the full view. Never mind. Okay.
So,
That's everything.
in this particular instance, we have these items completed, everything in X. The critical path going forward has been construction, sale, marketing, marketing to sale to conveyance. So I didn't want to get too into the screen because we just haven't looked at it before, but I just want you to know that it's there and that
Get back to the
it's
end.
a big part of the project, big part of the program.
Now, what is this saying at the end, though? Keep going. Yeah. The two
Project
on top.
completion.
Why are they in red? The externals and closeout. Yeah, done. Okay, but that's not the critical path. It's below it.
Well, I think they're critical to get to the project completion.
Okay, gotcha.
Pretty sure. They don't. It should.
No, you're right. I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just not linked, right?
Right.
Like externals and project completion is not linked.
Let's go see. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's see what happens when we do it. I'm only gonna be able to connect that to here though.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah. So now we have to get through externals to get to close out, to get to marketing, to get to sale, to get to advance, to get to project completion.
Oh, it's not linked to it. Okay.
So what change do we have to make?
The change that I made was I connected closeout to marketing.
Do we want to make that change? Or is it
Yeah.
just an example?
Yeah, it should. I actually don't know why they were linked before because I would have linked them all in the beginning. Were they linked on anything else?
We added some stuff afterwards, maybe. Maybe that's why.
You right over there?
Oh, I'm good. Got a great movie out right now.
Those Bluetooth headphones.
Only 5 days.
you linked closeout and marketing, that's it?
That's all I did.
You should just change the end of that network diagram.
Alright, so we don't all need to make these changes, but I'm just going to go through and see how my critical path will change when I change some of these.
So you could have just done 17, comma 20
It's not typing up.
to link them?
16. FF. Minus 5.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
could have put 18 in there.
20, line 20, right?
Yeah, line 20 I would have put, yeah, I put 18.
17.
So it's
Market it and close it out.
But you're right.
Seven, okay.
You're right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, just put in 18,
Put 18,
yeah, on line 20.
Yep.
He changed it though.
Sometimes it's a little tricky on that.
Get the shot more. So
line 20, and the code would be
So you have 18 for sale.
18,
Yeah.
okay.
When I was on your
Actually done line 18, 17, comma 18. That happens. If you look at line 17,
That makes sense.
It's something changed, that's why I'm looking.
no, yeah, okay.
Okay guys, that's the class example, and what we're going to use on the projects or some derivative of that. You can obviously go through and prove it. I think it's pretty straightforward. Now we're going to look at actual project and see how it's implemented, but it's actually a construction project. And if everyone has the handouts that I gave you, the sheet that we have with the green, the nice printed in color one. So we're gonna get that. This is an actual project that I've been working on. Our office, I mean, it's not a big project, it's a small project we've been working on. It's some duplexes that we're building on Grand Cayman, and what I asked for was a snapshot back in time in the middle of the construction cycle. So what our construction manager did for me here is he went back and he looked at some of the saved files over a period of time and shared with me this diagram. So go ahead and take a look at it a second. I'm going to pull it up here on the computer.
So the Dropbox?
No, I will put it on there though. Okay. First thing you'll see here at the top is this very detailed timeline of the order that everything's going to happen, and all the sections, the subsections, and the way that everything is occurring on the left side. The summaries are obviously the levels, and it's pretty detailed. Typical construction. Red card is a building permit available. What we're looking at here is we're building a certain number of duplexes in series. So what he was trying to do with this particular project is he was trying to look at what series of duplexes do we need to build the economies of scale to have them efficiently produced. So when he looked at it, he said, okay, well 6 is a good start. You know, I can't efficiently build one duplex at a time. At the time we had built the one duplex that was a show home, one was had all the extras and all the everything, every option that we offered on it. The other one was just the base one. So we built one. The costs for it were 25-30% more than the ones that we're building now. And he wanted to look at what the economies of scale are once we pull the trigger and he starts and can have multiple sets of people on the project at a time. So, so at the top here, you will see a very detailed timeline, which I'm going to remove so we can just look at the scheduled tasks here for now. And you'll see here that what he's done too in the display. Let me turn the light switch, is that he's made the percent completion in pink. So if you see something in pink here, these are all completed up to, let's say, line 38. Which is 100% complete, but he's done the drywall and walls to ceilings, but he has also accomplished the electrical wiring. On the externals, the septic tank was one of the first things, so he's already had that done. Externals render and wall finish is 80% complete, and the rest of the project is going on. The internals are ongoing. That type of thing. So basically, this is just an example of the ongoing modeling aspect of the program. And one of the main things that I wanted to look at on this next one is that trying to find where we're going. Is where the critical path remains here at the bottom. We'll look at costs in a second, but we've been talking about the critical path a lot, so I figured that like this. So right now, since he has aligned this duplex with the ones below, the critical path has moved from that first duplex construction to the next one. So he's determined that he needs to. He's determined that once the foundations or certain, maybe Dustin could shed some more light on this. So he's trying to. It's my understanding. He's trying to move his guys that he has focused on one specific task and just keep them employed, right? So he's just moving them across the site. So he'll have the foundations put in on the first one, and then he wants to move them to the second. Yeah. The problem here is that the sales aren't keeping up with the progress of the way that he wants to build them. And so he's basically he's stalled. So his guys, he can't move on to the next project even though he has them allocated down here to the remaining duplex. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So, go ahead.
So there's more than one duplex here added to this project?
Right, correct. So what we're looking at here is the construction of a duplex A1 and A2, and then the next one he's trying to move them to A3 and A4.
Okay.
But he hasn't been able to allocate them over there, so it's basically moved them back. So I'll go through and make some changes here.
How does that work then as far as like your cost summary using this if all of it is one project? Is it going to break it down as far as, okay, you're doing duplex 1 and 2, and this is the cost for those, and then your cost for
it's
3 and 4?
basically broken. It's broken down into individual ones, those individual sections.
Okay. Like
So
your summary.
He's looking at it as one project. We'll look at the individual project in a minute, but I just wanted to show one that's part of partially done. I have one that's actually just my duplex.
What do you put in like weather delays? Or is he just accounting for the stuff in here? Like,
yeah, he's just doing.
You know, CME walls, I'll throw in an extra day, just really bad weather.
Yeah.
There's not something on the, like you can build this whole thing and then put like that variable to cover the whole project.
Like
you know, figure 20 days. You know,
an assumed
rain days.
loss.
I'm sorry.
Like an assumed loss or assumed cost variance type of absorption.
Yeah, or just like the overall job is going to have 20 rain days, but I don't know what day they're going to happen.
Honestly, I'm not sure. It's a good question. Rain days.
Because I know it won't. I guess it won't matter on a non-critical path. function.
Uh-huh.
Like if the roof is on and the place is dried in, then it won't affect, you know, stuff being done on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if the roof isn't on and it's raining, then no work can get done on the whole project.
Mm-hmm.
Like an estimated contingency before you.
That is there something like that in there? That
Yeah, there is. I don't think we're gonna get there today, and honestly, I not the complete expert in this program, but it has a lot. The program has a lot to do with that. I'm sure it has that capability. I'll look at it. I'll talk to him next week,
Okay.
and we'll see. But it's for that cost targeting.
I just figured in here, I guess he's got it figured in because he doesn't
Yeah.
have like one missed day on here or contingency on here.
Not that I see.
Unless he's just got it built into the,
Yeah, it's my understanding that most of this he's doing by experience when I talked to him about it. So I actually went through, he doesn't use it for the costing. I actually went through and assigned the resources here. So I just assigned general numbers: machine operator, helper, tradesman, four-man gang, two-man gang, two tradesmen. Went in through and assigned numbers, and then looked at some of the outputs. So resource overview. I don't know why we're not seeing our baseline here, but let's go ahead and try modeling this and just see what we get when we this is percent. And three different things per day. Clash flow, remaining costs. Cost variance is obviously way over because I added some bigger numbers in to the resource pool that we're not actually paying people. So.
Oh, yeah. They get paid nice over there,
Okay,
Down there?
how many square feet are these duplexes?
1150.
Wow.
Crazy.
2-bedroom, 3-bath. We build. There's a 1450 option. It's a 3-4. There's also a 2-4 option. So, but these costs are way high. I mean, they're not even, or it's not even in the realm, obviously. So another example I had that's just a similar project pre-construction without those extra ones. I'm looking at here. I just want to show a few real world application of it. I don't handle too much commercial stuff. I handle feasibility stuff on the front end, but I don't really manage that much commercial stuff. Even those guys do. So there's obviously lots of examples out there, and some of the good ones are, as Dustin pointed out, or someone else pointed out earlier, in the examples that they provide. So this program is used, like I said earlier, is used for a lot of different stuff, but it has a few good examples. One of them is this commercial construction. So why don't we all go in here and just take a look around. So let's create a new project, and we're going to select commercial construction.
I don't have no templates.
None?
Where do we get this?
I think you gotta be logged in.
File new, and then we give you all these
Some of
templates.
us don't have accounts.
I have it, I'm not logged in.
Or maybe you could be online and search for it.
Yeah, it's an online template.
Yeah, I used to
Oh, it's online.
Is it really?
No,
Oh,
no,
it's
no.
right there the other day.
This?
It's right in the main menu when you
Yeah.
get on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it'll be on there. Search it up.
Dustin, your account is activated.
Huh?
Your account is activated.
Yeah, you should be able to.
I'll take it.
Yeah. It's fine. Let's just type it in the rental. On the server.
So I really wanted to look at this to just look at how detailed the, a case can be. It's not outrageous in the tasks, but there's quite a few, and obviously it's more detailed than most of the items that we've made
I
today.
noticed the timeline is different. So.
Yeah.
Flipped it upside down on mine.
They've done just basically two summaries. So there's the general, and then there's the, what is it broken up as? They've just broken up a little differently. Okay, so that's most of what I had for today. Why don't we? I'm gonna put some of these on the Dropbox. Why don't we look around a little bit, and then we'll actually let's take a little break, and then we'll break off into our groups and look around some of these things and kind of get ready for starting to get those things done for the case study that we're going to start working on next weekend. Sound good to everyone?
Okay, so we're done.
Yeah. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and be here for another little while.
got it. It's connected to
I just connected to online.
It's there. So you gotta connect online.
Yeah, see, once I connect online, it's good.
You get it, Robert?
That's the school one.
Did you get the login, Robert?
Once I go online, it's good.
And we'll talk more about the assignment. The only thing is it's for next week.
But once I have a high spot. Once I get online,
Cool. Awesome.
I know the
that's all online.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good.
Okay, so the one, there's just two syllabuses. There's one for the development one and two, and there's one for the finance.
There's one for each, but the addendum I sent out, which I really didn't pay attention to, is for both of my classes.
Okay.
We're getting an room.
Good. See you next week.
This is just the Kevin sent this out.
No.
So this,
Oh, here it is, okay.
this group project
Well, because he sent out one that included
is saying, when's this due?
Right.
Is this tied into the MIT? The group project?
Okay. And then his.
What are we doing?
It's tied into the MIT project, right?
Yeah, it's going to be making everybody's
And the individual one is doing.
You can take a look at the syllabus.
Okay, that's
Going away party.
I think it said March 20, something like that.
What are we doing right now? Are we going over any project thing? There's
Well, I'm
a
trying to figure out,
sun project.
I'm really confused as to how many there are, how many total are.
Get the heads off?
Yeah,
March
let's,
4th, Mark.
There's two midterms.
Well,
March 4th.
Do you see where my issue is?
no, okay, it's very simple.
I'll listen in on this.
No, it's on the syllabus addendum. For the real estate finance course, there's a midterm and a final. That's it, 50/50. On the real estate development, that's correct. No projects in the finance course. On the real estate development course that I am teaching, there is exam that occurs the next to the last day before the semester ends, which covers all the reading and all the lecture material. And then there is the case study project, which is the other 50%.
And that's on either industrial, commercial, whatever.
No, that's the one that we're doing the case study
Oh, okay,
competition.
The MIT one?
Correct.
Or presenting it at the end of the
Correct.
semester? It's not a separate, okay, that's part.
Are we doing that other project that we're talking about, whether we do industrial, commercial?
No,
or
because
no?
we're gonna be
Supplementing
doing
that with the MIT.
This is gonna, it should be a mixed use.
Gotcha. Cool.
And then for this class,
You have an individual project and a group project.
and then the law. Okay, that makes sense. There we go.
Dog, easy.
Yeah, but
I did see here on,
And yeah, the group project for this class is just using MS Project Pro to make schedule for
Well, and what's the individual project?
I'm gonna talk about it, but the individual project, I just want you guys to come up with a topic. Ideally, a property that you want to develop, or maybe something you have ongoing, make it as applicable to something that you're doing at the time, and make it a MS Project Pro.
Okay. And it can be like more of a development scope rather than construction, right?
Yes.
In other words,
The whole process of
but
development.
like
But I do, as in the syllabus set, I do want like a executive summary, explain what the project is, what's going on with it, and then the project pro outcomes, and the conclusion.
Okay. So the
How
group
does this affect
project,
your outlook of your program?
the group project for you though, that's gonna be done by next week, or by next time we meet.
No, it's
No.
due March 4th.
Okay,
He will not be here again for 2 more weeks.
okay.
Next week,
I'm not here
goes back
next
to me for finance,
Yeah.
and then the second half of development.
Okay.
group project for this class.
I don't know, it should be in that list. There should be a
Okay, so
whole list
I
there,
believe
yeah.
it's February first, but I give more time to the other one.
Probably what you should do is use Microsoft Project Pro to construct and integrate your 3 syllabi, so
Not a bad
see
idea.
where everything
Not a
is.
bad idea.
That's actually the first assignment.
it's in a critical path.
It's due at 5 o'clock. So.
Well, by looking at, the one
Which has,
It's a good idea.
No, the group one is
I think
the
everybody's
same
still here. The only person that
MIT
left was
thing
one.
that you have with your group.
Well, just,
You're gonna work together and create that.
Yep.
Okay, guys.
Project
I'm
for that.
gonna interrupt you briefly. We had some questions about the assignments for this course, and so I just wanted to go through them real quick. The last one that's going to be really easy, that's due, well, easier, is going to be the blog entries from the site visits that we go on, and that's due the Wednesday after the final class.
March
So
25th.
5 blog entries about the site visits that you've been on. Write about what sites you visited, people you met with, what you learned from it, that type of thing. 5 blog entries. Pretty straightforward.
Where do you put those?
we'll create a page that we can either. We want to go ahead and do it as one single page like we did with the strategy class, or do you guys want to do it as separate pages on their own? Do you have a preference?
You do it like we did.
I like
All
how
the same.
Okay, let's just do it all in one. What we can just actually, even if we wanted to,
Continue with the old one.
Use the
we can
same one.
use the old one, the NSU MSRED blog, which I'll send out a link.
So can we use it like similar format?
Yeah. For those people that are new, you can look at the blog from last semester that effectively, whenever we had a guest speaker come in, what you would do is you would typically write out the details of kind of what that person had to say, kind of insights that you gained from what they said, and then also usually some project or some particular topic that you would then research on your own related to what they had to say, that you would cite an article and effectively give a short description. But usually it was just no more than, probably 2 or 3 paragraphs for each of those speakers. If you want to look at a really good one, Roberts was probably the best in the class. So.
And just so y'all know,
He's the only one left.
this is going to be my last day once again. I made the decision last term, but I decided to go back on it. But I'm leaving to become a blogger.
See how everybody got silent though?
You will be,
That was so real.
you will be missed.
So, do you want that same format?
Yeah, and what I'll send you an email link. Matter of fact, I'll just do that here in a few minutes when we finish up this.
Okay, so the individual project for this course is going to be worth 40% of the grade, and next week I just want you to tell me verbally what the project's going to be. Ideally, it's a real estate development project. It can be something you're involved with, something you're not involved with, something you think about doing, but make it ideally as applicable or workable toward something that you're trying to accomplish currently.
And regarding the details of the task, like how in depth should we go?
Well, it's entirely up to you. I mean, if I set parameters here, then everyone's just going to do them. You know, then if I say 20 tasks, then everyone's going to have exactly 20 tasks. So, I mean, it's up to you. It doesn't have to
demonstrate the functionality of the software and your ability to use the functionality of the software.
Yeah, and like the different skills that we learned. You know, the way that you link tasks and the way that you do those different things. One thing that I didn't cover today is the printing function is not excellent on this program. Never has been, apparently. So when you go to print, you just have to adjust how much you're zoomed in, basically. So the zoom that you're viewing in affects the way that that print output is. So the deliverables for those, just print as a PDF.
For those of us who don't necessarily have the program activated, I've read on mine, if it's not activated within a certain time frame after the 22nd, it's a wrap for me having access to some of the features. Now, I haven't looked to activate it yet, but is there a process we have to go through to activate it?
Well, that's only if you're
I have a
buying
trial
the software.
version.
Yeah, if you're using the trial version, I would just use it until you can use it no more, and then potentially then give them a different email address and re-download it.
But will we lose because I saw it said it gives you a month in the trial version, so
Do you lose those
will
files?
we lose all the stuff we worked on?
Well, that's why I was saying you would save it.
You could save it in.
Do the Dropbox and things like that, so that way you can cover it.
Yeah, save it somewhere external.
Is it expensive? What's the, you know the price on it?
If you buy it, it's like $500.
Oh shit.
However, you can rent it for $25 a month. So therefore, if you need to like extend it or whatever, but I think it's one of those things that before you do that,
Don't cancel it.
yeah, if you don't cancel it, you're going to get rebilled.
Right.
So you know, if you're going to do that, which I think would be a great idea, that way that you know that you've got it for more than enough time. Because technically, if you activate it today, you've really got until February the 17th, which really only gets you through.
I only have till Thursday, January 22nd.
So the point being is you're probably going to have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to have to re-download it again under a different email address.
I have no idea.
They only give you a week to activate it.
Yeah, okay. Then the final, the group project is going to be the groups that you're in now. We're going to be working on that MIT case study next time we meet, 2 Saturdays from today. Dr. Ford, you sent out the link. Take a look at the submissions from last year. And that's going to be your main assignment for this class. Take a look at the submissions from last year, what they were like, what the quality is, and the parameters of the project.
Yeah,
and
but
scope.
focus more specifically on what information that they put into the presentation. They're very flashy, okay? If you look at them, I mean, the graphics are incredible, but really focus on the key pieces of information that they, put in there, and so that, to see to what extent they actually address the case. What I would do, if I were you, is I would, number one, I would look at the actual case study that was given to which is on there. I would read that first. Then I would look at the 3 teams and what they actually did, okay? And then after that, you'll have, I think, a much better idea of, okay, because if you try to look at the presentations before you see the case, you're probably gonna, where did all this come from?
Right.
So if you read the case, go through that, but do all of that before you show up here, because you need to effectively kind of have in your head, what it is they did, why they kind of did maybe what they did. And then whenever we show up on the 31st, you will have already at that point received the case for this year, and you will need to read that case on your own, come up with your own ideas, so that whenever you do show up on the 31st, you're good to go. You're ready to go and work with your team and put together whatever you can over the entire course of that Saturday to then be able to submit to us by effectively Monday. Okay, does that make sense? Okay.
What Saturday is that? We're doing the whole
The
day?
31st.
31st, okay.
Okay.
And then for the actual submittal to the thing, you're gonna submit it? We submit it to you and you submit it?
Well, y'all's team, yeah, y'all will submit directly. Y'all will submit to me, but also to them.
And the only deliverable for my course is the MS Project Pro.
Which isn't due until the following.
Yeah, which isn't
time
due
period.
until.
The individual project.
No, that's
No,
the
it's
group.
It's a group project, so you'll do one as a group.
Okay.
So in essence, you will complete the case study before you actually develop the timeline in Project Pro. Okay? Does everybody follow that? Now, a couple of other things just to sort of point out, you know, obviously after a day and kind of seeing Project Pro, here's what you should be thinking. This is sort of my, personal takeaway. Much like Microsoft Word, much like Microsoft Excel, all of us can use the bare basic functionality of both of those programs. Yes? If you need to write a letter, you can use Microsoft Word. You can, if you need to do a quick little spreadsheet, you can do a quick little spreadsheet. But do any of us really understand all of the functionality of either of those programs? No. Much the same way about Microsoft Project Pro, and that's the way you need to look at it. You need to sort of think of it as you're getting introduced to fundamentally how do you set up a project, in terms of the Gantt charts and seeing, how different tasks overlap with each other, how to allocate resources, do those sorts of things that Kevin walked you through today. Your goal is not to be Project Pro Master right this minute, okay? Your goal is to get through those basic fundamental steps, and then to the extent that you want to take it a little bit further and kind of explore some of the added functionality of the program, do that. Have some fun with it. Part of it is meant for you to obviously, take this baseline knowledge. Okay, you've now learned how to ride the bicycle with training wheels. Okay, let's take the training wheels off a little bit and kind of hopefully you can, kind of get down the road. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so don't get yourself all overwhelmed and saying, oh my God, I'll have no idea how to do everything in this program. That's not the objective. The objective is to obviously learn the basic fundamental sort of functionality of what it does. Okay? All right. And another thing to sort of think about as you're sort of, you're saying, well, who really should be using this kind of program? And I think, one of the things that Kevin pointed out, which I think is a really useful one, if you set this sort of thing up, you set up this sort of a schedule with all these resources and that sort of thing, part of what you're able to do is visualize, conceptualize how you might be able to make your process more efficient. Okay, how you can cut down on the time that you're spending. If you can actually see visually and conceptually where all these pieces in the puzzle sort of fit together. I mean, you guys that are in the construction business, I mean, over time through your experience, to a certain extent, who has to finish before the next guy, starts and so forth, so on. But then you also know who can work simultaneous with someone else, and what sort of things can be done in bad weather, so what sort of things can't, but to what extent you can begin to kind of put that into a framework like this, I think is really useful. And for a one-off project, as Kevin was saying, sometimes you may sort of say, well, it might not be worth going into to all that much detail on a one-off project, but if you're going to be doing something over and over and over again, this is a heck of a way to sort of be able to kind of think about it. That, if you're a McDonald's or a Burger King, you don't think they probably have a very precise model, I mean, literally day by day, hour by hour kind of timetable to effectively get the job done. So, think of it from that perspective as well of when we're starting to, build this sort of thing, hopefully you're gaining some insights of, okay, how can I put this to use to potentially reduce my, overhead costs, reduce my, time to actually completion, those sorts of things. Make sense? Okay. Now, for my class next week, I did send out a syllabus addendum this past week that you should have taken a look at that already. But in that syllabus addendum, there's one page that's for the real estate finance course, there's one page that's for the real estate development course. Each have the respective reading assignments. Someone asked, when do I need to do the reading assignments? My perspective is you can do them whenever you want to, but you're going to have to do them before the test. Now, is the test going to be all over the reading? No, the test is really almost exclusively over the lecture material. The textbook, as I see it, fills in gaps or helps to maybe explain things in a different way than what I'm maybe explaining them in the classroom. Now, does that mean that you should never ever pick up the book and read the book ever and potentially walk into the test without even looking at the book? No. It means that if for example, I talked about tax increment financing in class last week, and chances are, if I talk about something, it's going to be on a test, okay? But if you don't remember me talking about tax increment financing or what tax increment financing is, what do you think you ought to be doing? Reading about it in the book. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay.
YouTube.
Or YouTube, wherever. You get the information, almost anywhere. But the point being is, that's a way, I'm not giving you a test over memorization out of the book. What you're going to be expected to do is, basically, if I ask you, how would a local government use, and when would they use tax increment financing? You would be able to give me an answer to that. Okay? What is one of the other sort of disincentives that might be able to be used by a local government to effectively change the pattern of growth? Well, we can talk about what? Development impact fees. And so forth, so on. Those are the kind of questions that you're going to be seeing on the conceptual side. On the financial side, more of the feasibility sort of stuff. Okay? Okay, so at this point, you've been assigned to teams. The teams, as I mentioned this morning, for those of you that came in late, the teams that were assigned are going to be used in two instances. One, the teams that were assigned are going to be used for the case study project for the MIT case study competition. That same team will also be used for the group project for Kevin's class using Project Pro. Does that make sense? Okay, it only makes sense for those teams to be the same since the Project Pro is going to be based on the case study. Okay? That is, and then outside of that, everything else is individual work. Okay? Any other questions for me? All good? All good. Yes, Laura.
The Saturday that will be here doing the project, are you going to tell us how more or less you should be doing the work?
I will give you, to the extent that I can, as much insight and help. I technically cannot help the team that's actually doing the submission to MIT. Okay, that team, they technically are supposed to be on their own, but all the rest of you I can give as much insight and guidance, and Kevin can as well.
Great.
Okay? So that should mean that y'all have better projects than they will have. So we'll see. Okay, anything else? Other questions, comments, observations?
That's all I have. Just don't forget about your individual verbal proposals next week and read up on that MIT stuff. Sorry, 2 weeks from now.
Our individual projects we.
Yeah, just
2 weeks. 2 weeks
verbal
from now.
proposal. Tell me what you're doing.
Okay.
In other words, how are you going to use Project Pro? Okay, what kind of a project are you potentially going to undertake? What kind of things are you going to potentially include for him?
Can we email you like ideas?
Sure.
Things,
Yeah, of
to
course.
make sure. I'm right back.
So you can be like, hell
I just don't want to be like, that's not what I want.
And once those I've written down who has borrowed a computer from me,
Yeah.
that is yours to keep
So
throughout
we're gonna get
the
it.
remainder of
We'll send it
the
out to you guys on
program,
Wednesday.
so that ultimately, once again, use it as you need to. If you don't need it, go back to it.
You don't have any more, right?
Nope. Those are not university computers, by the way, those are, I pay for them on my own, okay? So those are just simply loaners, all right?
Yeah, get your still.
Alright. That's the tough one, right?
Guy watching TV in class.
I have you going to watching a lot of
Yeah. And no joke, what, 2 weeks later?
I like that, so that's not
It's over and done
That's
with.
pretty cool. I mean, I'm not next week.
I'm not either, and not many people are, but when, on the project, how many project managers, hang up logs. I look at them, the small ones I can stand, those long, 20 pages.
Yeah, I actually just went to using a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great way to portray your information. That's what they say, you can go so far.
Yeah, there's people that just do that.
Which is ridiculous. Anyway.
Cool, Tyler. Have a great week. All right, man. See you in 2 weeks.
Let's start there.
That's what we're gonna do that for.
Yeah, just send the location.
It's probably kind of be a combination of retail, residential,
We're gonna go to Miami next Thursday, right?
Yeah, that's, I have to schedule my phone. And if I don't know what you're doing, I was thinking,
Once you get the project, that'll be the time to
I'm free to drop off today.